So today I just thought we would do something maybe a little bit different, and I think I might just tell you the story of how I sliced my head open in Bali, went to the emergency room, and how much I actually had to pay for really good emergency medical care in Bali. Okay, so for Christmas this year, Chris, Bodhi, and I went back to the UK to visit his side of the family, and we spent about 12 days in England. Now, for my Christmas present, all I asked for was to go surfing by myself, or they could come with me, I didn't care, for 3 or 4 days. The closest place for us to go surfing is definitely Indonesia. We can go to Bali. It's direct flight, 2 hours, like maybe a little bit more than 2 hours, no big deal. We get back from the UK, we fly in, and then 2 hours later I was on a flight to Bali to spend what was gonna end up being 5 days surfing. This is my first trip away from Chris and Bodhi by myself since Bodhi was born. And honestly, I think the first trip since I've been married to Chris. We've basically just traveled together anytime we've had holidays. Like, the waves weren't great, I'd say. It was super windy. It was Bali's off season, so I didn't really realize that before I went. So it was the windy, like kind of rainy season. It was still nice and fun. The waves were decent. The third morning that I was there, woke up super stoked. The waves were a little bit smaller, so I thought they might be a little bit better for longboarding, which is why I prefer. I don't really love big waves anyways. And we went out. First thing, we were the only people there. So I paddled out, I was the first one out. Absolutely lovely. I think we were maybe an hour into the session. I caught maybe 6 or 7 waves. So I went to go take off on my next wave. It was coming just right behind me, went to paddle. I was up, surfed it a little bit, jumped off the back, and then as I was popping up, I felt like a really big thud on my head, and I thought, oh crap, like my board hit me in the head. What an idiot, Rachel, like what are you doing? But I really honestly didn't think anything of it. As I got on my board and I started paddling back out to the lineup to just like chat with the surf guides I was surfing with, their faces went like white, and they were like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine, like the board just hit me in the head, like I'm fine, everything's okay. And my surf guide looked at me like dead straight in the face and was like, you are not okay, you need to go in like right now. And he started splashing water in my face, and as he started splashing water in my face, I looked down and I just saw chunks and like buckets of blood coming out of my forehead. I still felt fine, like I was still absolutely fine, like thank you, like absolutely fine. But he was like, no, you definitely need to go in. So then I started to get maybe a little bit nervous. So I said, oh, like it's fine, like I'll go in. So he pushed me into the white water of a wave just to kind of get as close to shore as possible without having to paddle super far. Now this is when I realized I was really lucky, because we were about 400 meters, maybe 300 meters, 400 meters away from the actual beach. We were out on a reef in Nusa Dua, and I started to paddle back in, and all I kept thinking was, oh my gosh, like whatever you do, don't pass out now, because if you pass out now, like no one's around, you're by yourself, just keep paddling. And it was a long paddle, and as I was paddling, all I could feel was just like drips and drips and drips of blood coming. And I don't know if it was coming from my mouth or where it was coming from, because I wasn't in any pain, like not a single, I didn't have any pain, like nothing. But I finally get to the beach after ages, and just kind of swimming around a little bit. I'm not trying to go into the water because like I know I'm bleeding from my head, and I wasn't sure kind of like how the water was. But I just laid down on the beach and was waiting for somebody to come. I don't know who, but the surf guide that I was surfing was coming in from the waves, and he comes running over to me, because I think it might have looked like I was passed out on the beach, because I was just laying down next to my board just trying to get some sun. And he just asked if I was okay. I said, yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Like I'm not in any pain. I don't really feel anything. And he's like, yeah, but it's not looking very good. So he was like, oh, come on, let's go. Come with me. And he starts going to talk to the lifeguards. But I just went in for a swim to clear off, get the sand off. But as I was walking back up to like the parking lot of the beach, everyone around me was just looking absolutely shocked, like gobsmacked. Now I know why, but everyone kept being like, no, you need to go in an ambulance, you need to go. And I wasn't in any pain and I couldn't feel anything, so I just thought, oh, I have a little cut maybe on my forehead. We finally get going and the guy that I was with turns around and asks me like, do you have travel insurance? And I was like, oh yeah, I think so, I don't know, like I'm pretty sure my husband sorted it out. And we go to get in the car and I finally see my face and it is covered in blood, like absolutely, like from forehead to nose. It was like dripping in my eyes, it was everywhere. But luckily, I think I was just in the right place. Just around the corner, maybe less than 5-minute drive, I was at, let me get the name correct, Bali International Medical Centre. So when we got there, I walked in and I'll put a picture right here. This is what I looked like as I was walking, and I was in my bikini, a tank top, I was covered in sand, I was wet. So I walked in and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, you need to come in straight away, come to the back. And at that stage, I was really nervous, and for some reason I was convinced that I was gonna end up in a really dodgy little hospital. But to be fair, Bali Medical Centre, International Medical Centre, amazing. It was like a Western hospital, absolutely brilliant. Finally called Chris, got a hold of him through our helper. Chris wasn't picking up, and he was a smidge concerned, and all he said was like, oh, what did you get yourself into, Rachel, by yourself? Come on, what are you doing? So got to the hospital, met the nurse that was going to take care of me, Denny. Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. I believe his name was Denny. Absolutely amazing, spoke really good English. And genuinely, I felt a lot better because I wasn't really sure what I was getting into, like, and where I was going. So it was brilliant. The care I received was awesome. So you can see this is a picture of me on the phone with Chris. I tried to get as many pictures as I could because I knew this wasn't gonna happen very often, but I didn't really take any videos. And as I was calling my Chris and my best friend, I was joking. I said, oh, like they're gonna have to shave my head. So I asked the nurse, I said, are you gonna have to shave my head? He said, definitely. So that is why now I have a lovely shaved part right in the middle of my head, because that's where my cut was. So I needed to get a couple of things done. So I needed to get a CAT scan done to make sure that I didn't have any bleeding in my brain or any fractures in my skull or anything like that. And then I needed to get some stitches. So I hung out, got the CAT scan. That was the first thing I got done. And everyone was so nice and spoke really good English. Then I came back to my room and got prepared and like ready for the stitches. I'll show you, this is a picture of what it looked like before they shaved my little part. And then this is what it looked like after they shaved my head. I needed to get 4 internal stitches, like about like close to my skull, I guess you could say. I'm not a doctor, don't quote me on that. And then I needed to get 7 stitches just right on my scalp. Now, I've never had stitches before, and since it's right on your head, I could hear the sound of like the stitch material going through my skin, and that was a bit of a creepy sound. But me and my lovely doctor and Denny were listening to some country music while we were hanging out. There's a bunch of pictures I'll put up of me and the lovely staff getting some stitches and listening to some music. So they were absolutely brilliant, chatted to me the whole time, really put my mind at ease. And then I ended up leaving the hospital. I had to pay my bill, which I have here. And then I went back. I ended up leaving Bali early because I didn't really want to sleep in a hotel room by myself in case there was like any concussion or any head injury. I wanted to go home and be close to my family. So now, the most interesting part. This is my medical bill from Bali International Medical Centre. Now, this is a couple weeks ago, so obviously my hair has grown out a little bit and my stitches are out. But when I went to the doctor here in Singapore, they said they did just an absolute amazing job, and they were really impressed with the stitches. Obviously I have a scar and it's a bit patchy still, like it's growing out. But I just thought I would go through the total cost of International Medical Centre prices for medical care. This is without insurance. I have travel insurance, so I put in a claim for this back, but I just thought I would show you kind of what it costs if there is an emergency and you're somewhere like Bali. Now, I'm going to convert this to Singaporean dollars because it's probably the easiest for me to do. And then on the screen, I'll put up what it would cost if this was in the US. So I'll do a little digging and see how much this would have cost if it was in the US. But for stitches, so this is the cost for my stitches, and this is in rupiah. That's equivalent to almost 380 Singaporean dollars for subcutaneous tissue mucous membrane repair wound on the face or neck, which is large and greater than 5 centimeters, involving deeper tissue. 380 bucks. Then my wound care was $5. My CAT scan, this is the most expensive thing. So the CAT scan was around 500 Singaporean dollars. Again, this is like without insurance, I'm just paying out this cash. And then my doctor's fees, so my emergency attendance level, doctor level 2, Dr. Savera Nesti, she was amazing, was $75 for the time that she treated me. And then safety gear, all of the safety gear was $2, and then the medication and all of this here is just like the iodine and the stuff that they use. So it's $4, $2, $37, $64, $14, and the stitches, Transofix, I'm guessing that's the stitches, that was $1. Amazing. And again, another dollar, and then I had some antibiotics because the water is probably not the cleanest to be putting in a head wound. Antibiotics and some painkillers, but honestly, I had no pain the entire time. And, ooh, I'm guessing something here has to be the, what's it called? When you inject it. What's it called when you inject yourself and you can't feel anything? Something here has to be the numbing injection that they put in my brain or in my head. Definitely didn't put it in my brain. They put it in my head. And then this is what I looked like afterwards. This is my lovely nurse, Denny. We had a great time just laughing and joking. Overall, this ends up being 12 million rupiah. So 12 million rupiah, 545,000. It's about, if simple conversions, I'll do the actual conversion, put it on the screen. It's about 1,200 Singaporean dollars for like emergency medical care in Indonesia, and that's without insurance. And this is at like they said it's the fancy hospital. They were absolutely amazing. So now this is how much this could cost, the range that it would cost in the US. And this is how much I paid total in like proper conversion. But overall, really good care. I think if you're ever in Nusa Dua, if anything happens to you, head over to BIMC. And other than that, just make sure you have travel insurance. Just make sure you have travel insurance. You never know when something's gonna happen. I think I was pretty scared at first, but then by the end of it, I just thought it was a pretty cool experience and made me really grateful for the opportunities we have to travel and to meet things. And this isn't a normal experience, but I think it opened my eyes to my own perceptions. I thought the medical care would be kind of scary, but I honestly felt so safe. I felt really, truly taken care of. And if it hadn't been for Chris booking my flight early, I would have probably stayed there with my big old head bandage. So that's it. So hopefully no more surfing accidents going to Bali on Monday with a school trip. So I'm thinking, fingers crossed, nobody ends up in the Nusa Dua Medical Center. But if they do, I know we're in good hands. So we'll see you next time. Bye.